All right, what a day. First of all, Atrium Health had Gianni Norman out here, 11 years old. Love to bring him out here and just inspire the crew. We all got stuff we're working on, and Gianni's had his own battles to get back to where he's at, but he was able to share that moment with the team. Other good stuff, we had Nick Scorton back. Really successful surgery on the mend, right at the beginning of it. But if you know anything about Nick, the way he's going to attack this thing is like he does everything else. And, so he's Chris Brazel as well. He was here inside getting some rehab. So good to have the guys back around their teammates and showing a lot of love through the building.
When were each of those surgeries generally?
Yeah, I think Nick was first. That might have been like 2 weeks ago. And then probably about 5 or 6 days after Nick, Chris also went down there. They were down in Texas together, actually, recovering. And we were able to stay in touch with them. Jaquan Jarrett did a great job of going down there, hanging out with the guys. I was able to FaceTime them in their recovery. It was like right after the Bills game, they had all their ideas and thoughts about, what went on. And so it was good to kind of hear that and see that they're following along with us.
Dave, what's the update on Devin Lloyd?
Yeah, Devin was just a vet rest, so he was really sore coming out of the practice. Really had a fantastic day, and then we were gonna play him, but coming out of that didn't feel like we wanted to. And then today he got some more intensive treatment on his knee, and he was able to. He's doing great. He's doing great. We don't foresee this being something that's going to hinder him long term, but it was a good moment and opportunity for us to take advantage of this window to get him all the way back.
Dave, Chuba's been battling that hamstring.
Yeah.
What is your prognosis for him? Is he expected to be ready for the regular season?
Absolutely. He's expected to be ready for week 1. I think he hit over 20 miles an hour the other day in RTP, but that's in a controlled setting. And right now we didn't want to put him back out there. He's not ready for someone to pull on his jersey for him to pull through that, but he's ahead of schedule. He's doing a great job.
What about Xavier?
Yeah, Xavier, his foot's still sore. He's in a boot. We're going to have him in a boot till Thursday. Take that off. Then we'll ramp him up over the weekend to get him ready for that practice that we have on the bye week before the Chicago week.
Dave, what about Haynes King? Do you expect him to be ready for this preseason finale?
He will not be ready for the preseason finale. He's trending same direction as Chuba. He's getting his long speed and all that stuff up, but he's not in a place where we can cut him loose to play football right now.
Dave, what's your plan on you're not going to play the starters on Friday, I guess?
Yeah, that's still up in the air. And honestly, we have a really intense practice planned with the Texans on Wednesday. So, depending on how we come out of that, and if we get the volume that we're looking for, the odds are they won't play. If between D'Amico and I, if we're not able to get the work that we wanted, there may be some early play for some of the guys, but we're going to kind of make that decision after the practice.
The roster's about to go down to 53
Yeah.
in 6 days. What are the little things you look at, and maybe some of those fringe players that hopefully they come out on the other side of that?
Yeah, versatility is huge, right? Whether you're a interior offensive lineman, whether you're a wide receiver or a DB, can those guys play special teams? Can the guys inside play multiple spots? Those things are all going to help. We have a really competitive team, really competitive roster. We got some tough decisions to make, Dan and I, and we've been previewing some of those. But we got another great opportunity, and we have a practice on Wednesday, and we have a game on Friday to be able to look at the whole group, to give them one more shot to compete and to show us what they can do.
Dave, when you saw Darren Waller out there for the first time today, how did you think he looked?
Yeah, we sprinkled him in, got him a couple of team reps. He looked really good in RVAs. We weren't able to get him a target in the course of the team periods, but he looked good running. He's in great shape, and I think it's just a matter of time for him to just hear the words, get where he fits into the concepts for us to be able to continue to evaluate that.
How involved do you think he'll be Wednesday and potentially Friday?
Same deal on Wednesday. He'll pop into some team settings, and we'll get him some exposure against the Texans in that practice.
When you signed Darren, what was the conversation like? I mean, he's coming in mid-camp, he's getting a week of work.
Yeah.
How are you able to evaluate him that quickly? How much you have to take in his past, and how much you have to take in the status of the rest of the...
Yeah, we have to lean on his recent history playing. Last year, for example, just watching the cut-ups, and that's the reason why we brought him in, leaning on that part. hard to get the evaluation. We spent the first part of last week just running him and pushing him and making sure he was practice ready. We didn't want to rush that part. And then this week, the plan is rolled out today, got him out there, got him some exposure, and he'll get some great reps on Wednesday as well to evaluate it. But again, it's a good room. We love those guys and trust them, and so he comes into a room to see if he can help us in some way, but the guys are doing a great job of showing what they can do as well.
He played Friday?
He probably won't play Friday. If we get enough work on Wednesday, I wouldn't want to put him out in a game type of setting, having only practice for a week.
During the game Friday, I think Saturday, team broadcast said Taylor was going to be out at least another month.
Yeah.
Do you have updates on him and Icky and Turk?
I don't have any specific timelines on Timo. We are kind of at the mercy of the treatment and recovery for him. So we just have to kind of make sure that we're following that course. If you ask Timo, he's running around. He looks great. He's pushing sleds. He's doing everything. But it's just a matter of the medical condition just doesn't allow you to put him into a contact type of situation right away. So we're going to have to play that by ear.
Dave, was that Corey that caught that interception?
Yes. Yeah.
What can a play like that just do for a young guy to kind of remind him what they can do?
Yeah, it's a confidence thing, and for Corey, he was a guy that just continued to make plays last year, and just looking for those types of plays. He had a play, a couple, maybe 2 or 3 plays before the interception that he was close on, and could have made the op, and then he made the one that counted there at the end as we got closer in a need a touchdown situation. So and Corey, the thing about Corey is he's really improved on special teams, and we played him at nickel, we played him at safety, we played him at corner last year. So that versatility definitely sticks with us as we go into making the 53.
I know you like what you've seen from Jonathan Brooks so far. If Chuba returns for week 1 as you expect, do you foresee a running back by committee approach in that game?
Yeah, we'll definitely roll it out just the way we have been, where you have a lead back for the series. The other guy comes in on 3rd down so they can be in there for the protection. And also we run the ball on 3rd down. So those are good opportunities to just keep a guy into the game while the other person, whether it's Chuba or JB, we'll make that decision when we get closer. But whoever the lead guy for the base downs is, they'll get the bulk of that rhythm so that they kind of feel what's happening with the fronts and how the defense is trying to play as well.
After watching tape from the joint practice and then the game, is there anything you learned about this team coming out of Jacksonville that you didn't already know?
Well, we're fit. We're ready to play a game. Starting 9 days before everybody else, between us and the Cardinals, we've gotten these guys to a point where we're ready to play football, and that showed up in the game. We were able to stay strong throughout the rest of the 3rd and 4th quarter, and so that's just a great collective team effort of Jeff Brown and I with the calendar, Josh Hinks, Denny Callington, working to make sure we're pushing the guys the right way. Outside of a couple of guys who have missed some practice time, Robin DeLu started a little bit later. Derek, we had to rest Derek and kind of get him on and off type of rhythm. Bobby Brown missed some time. Those are 4 guys that really need this week. They need Wednesday. They need the following week and those couple of practices that we'll get to get them up to speed from a conditioning standpoint. So that's something I learned about our group, and just the fact that the physical nature of how we play, it isn't always reflected on the scoreboard. I'm glad we've won 2 out of 3. But for me, as I'm looking, I just want to see our play style. And we're playing a physical style of football that I'm really proud of.
Looking at linebacker, obviously Devin was not out there, so a lot of Trevin and Claude with the ones.
Yeah.
Where does that competition stand heading this?
Yeah, they're head to head. It's back and forth, and it's neck and neck. Again, I've talked about this before, but these are guys who aren't just teammates; these are friends, and they understand that. They understand what they're up against. We could use them both, and we're going to need them. And the nature of the position is a violent spot, and both of the guys can help us on special teams as well. So we'll have to make that decision as we get closer. But they're both doing a great job of competing to be in that spot next to Devin.
We've asked you a lot about that position battle. Is there another one that you're that's kind of flying under the radar that you think is very critical also?
I think we're all aware of the receiver, group. It feels like we have about 7 guys that I'd love to keep. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep 7. There's been years where we were able to keep 7 for a while. I don't know if that's possible. So those guys are competing. They're pushing. That's Jimmy. That's John Mechie, Jasim Reed. Casey Washington keeps making plays. So these are guys that are going to be in the conversation as we get down to it.
This is the last question right here.
Ryan Fitzgerald obviously the 61-yarder in Jacksonville. This training camp, he hasn't been in a competition, but he is still performing. How have you noticed his approach to this offseason in comparison to?
Yeah, it goes back to the spring. Ryan's goals coming out of it. Tracy gave him the challenge. Time to get stronger. He took that challenge. He got stronger. He focused on a lot of plyometric, explosive type of movements and put on some good weight, some good muscle. And I mean, you can see the ball jumping off his foot different than last year even. And I'm really proud of the way that Ryan's he's so steady, you know, and he handled a competition well. He's handling this part well, being our guy. Missed the chip shot right after the 61-yarder, you know, but again, it's just about the reminder of like, you just got to stay locked in and go through your whole routine before it. But I'm really excited for what he's done. All right, thank you.